Hi everybody, it's coming towards the end of tomato season now. I've still got some plants outside, but it's not going to be long until they're finished and we'll be taking the plants out ready for next year. So before I do that, I always like to save some seed. So on this video today, I thought I'd take you along on some of the tomatoes I'm saving in this batch. There will be more, but I just wanted to share with you the 4 that I'm going to be doing today. So the first one that I'm doing is this beautiful one, and it's a mahogany underneath, and it's absolutely delicious. It's quite sweet, but it's very sort of smoky and it's got a depth of flavour to it. And this tomato actually was given to me by another plot holder who brought it back from Turkey. And he can't remember what it's called, but I call it Hassan's Black because that's what his name is. So that's one of the tomatoes I'll be doing today. The other one is this one. Again, it's very nice. And the tomatoes I'm using do have like some blemishes or it's a bit soft. So that's why I'm taking the seeds out of some of the damaged tomatoes. But this one is Anais Noir or black pineapple. And I'll cut it open for you in a bit. But again, it's a very delicious tomato. The third one I'm going to show you is this one here, and this is called Rebel Starfighter Prime. This is the first year I've grown it, and we did some taste tests. It's very beautiful. It's got these, you can see the colouring on it. It's absolutely lovely in the on a plate with other tomatoes as a mixed tomato. Very nice. And we did a bit of a taste test between Hassan's Black and this Rebel Starfighter, and this one took the edge. So I'm definitely growing this again. It's just slightly more flavoursome than the Hassan's Black, but Hassan's Black is still very nice, but this one is exceptional. And then the fourth one that I'm going to be taking seeds from today so that I've got stuff to grow to next year is this little bruiser here. So these are all heritage tomatoes, but this one is called Dr. Witches. I will put the names of the 4 tomatoes up underneath in a bit. But this is absolutely scrummy. Everybody that's tasted this tomato has said it's wonderful and one of their favourites. And this is I can't remember if this is the 2nd or the 3rd year that I've grown this tomato, and it's never disappointed me. I've saved the seed and grown it, and it's fantastic. I think this originated from some seeds I bought from America actually, but I shall cut these open and let you see inside before I actually take out the seeds. So saving seed is very easy. All you need is a vessel like this, depending on how much seed you're going to save. But you've got to remember you can only save the seeds from open pollinated heritage tomatoes, not from any F1s. I mean, you can save the seed, but it won't necessarily come true to the tomato or whatever vegetable you're saving seed from. It won't necessarily come true to the original plant. So the easiest way is just to save the heritage or open pollinated types. So this is Hassan's Black, and I'll just cut this open for you. The tomatoes on here, this is a kind of one of the smaller ones actually. They do get bigger than this, and as I said, look at that, it's quite beautiful inside. Not too much, it's very moist, but not too much of the seedy, pithy stuff. Lots of good solid tomato, very nice and very tasty. So all you do when you're saving the seeds is to scoop out into this dish all of the seeds from the cells like this. And as you see, I use a spoon to help. So I will go around and take out all the seeds. And then when I've got all of the seeds in here, I just add a little bit of water into this dish, and I cover it with a tea towel or something that's breathable, just so that the flies don't go in there. And then just leave it. And what happens is it starts to go mouldy or ferment. And when that starts to happen, then you can take it out and you can wash the seeds. So you need a nice fine sieve to wash the seeds, but I'll show you that as we go along. And then you need to dry the seeds out. And another tip is make sure you label everything well, because when these jars are all out on the side, if you've got a few varieties, they do all look the same. And if somebody moves them, then you're really stuffed because you haven't a clue what's what. So labeling everything, and if you'll see that I've got different jars for saving the seed in. So this is slightly different from that one, which will help me if they do get moved around a bit, because it's happened to me before, so I learnt my lesson. So I should just finish scooping these out in a bit, but I want to show you one of the other tomatoes. So there's a seed on here. You've got to be really careful that you don't mix the seeds. So this one is the Anais Noir, or black pineapple, and these are stunning. And again, from the taste test from everybody, said they were absolutely gorgeous. You can get some that are redder than this and have better redding, and as I'm growing them, if I can find one, then I'll definitely save the seed from that tomato. But this is very nice, very beautiful, very tasty. So I will be saving this seed as well, and I shall pop that one in here. And this is, I shall make sure I clean all this board before I do anything else when I'm doing the seeds. I'm just cutting these open for you to have a little look inside. So this is the Rebel Starfighter. And everybody has been raving about this tomato. Again, they're very fleshy tomato, very dark. Look at the colour, very succulent. Looks lovely. So again, I'll be scooping these seeds out and saving those for next. So I should just pop that in here and clean these seeds up. Actually, I shall just pop that into the pot that they're going in. Waste not, want not. And then the last of the tomatoes to show you is this one, which is the Dr. Witch's. And again, this is rather lovely. And I wish it had smell-o-vision, because these tomatoes absolutely smell great. And here is the centre of this tomato. Again, a very meaty, fleshy tomato, very juicy, and everybody that's tasted this tomato has raved about it. Now, there is another tomato, well, there are many tomatoes that are a bit like this, but there is another one called Kellogg's. I think it's just called Kellogg's, which I've bought some seed from because I want to do a comparison between this tomato and the Kellogg's, because there's been a lot of good reviews with the Kellogg's tomato as well. But if I only had this one, I would not be disappointed. It's absolutely delicious. And again, I shall save these seeds in here. And when I've scooped out all the seeds, I'll bring you back. So here are the tomatoes once again, now that I've seeded them, and it shows how much flesh there is in the tomatoes versus sort of the seed. So this is the Dr. Witches, the Agnès Noir, the Rebel Starfighter, and Hassan's Black. So I shall start to prep those now for fermenting. So I've just put some covers on the top and I've labelled them all. And I'll leave them on this tray, and I'll move the tray nowhere near the kitchen. And in a few days I shall come and have a little look at them. But that's my 4 save jars for next year's growing. After a couple of days, the tomatoes will kind of ferment or have this kind of mould over the top. And that's fine, because what you're doing is breaking down the jelly solution that surrounds the seeds. So what I'll do now is give them a wash and separate all the gunk from the actual seeds. So I'll show you that. So you need to get yourself a fine mesh sieve so that the seeds don't actually go through the holes when you're cleaning it. But then you just pour the whole lot into the sieve. Just have some running water, and I'll just pour that in there as well. That's got all the seeds out. And then just with a spoon, just clean them up just a little bit. And you'll see that the seeds have now lost all of that jelly stuff that surrounds them normally. So just give them a nice little rinse swab. So I'm happy that all the muck and all the jelly stuff has come away. That should be good. And then I shall put it out on some greaseproof paper. So before you do your next batch of seeds, just check the sieve that there are no seeds left in the sieve or any gunk there, because you don't want the seeds to get mixed up. So just check. Now you can use anything to put your seeds on. Some people use a piece of kitchen roll or tissue or something like that. I use some greaseproof paper, and I just spooning the seeds out. I'm just trying not to drip any on the paper, like this. And then I just spread them out, because what you want them to do now is to dry. And the reason why I use greaseproof paper is because when they're dry, they're easier to lift off the piece of paper. I find sometimes when I use tissue or kitchen roll, it sticks and it's just harder to get up. But with this, they come off really easily when they're dry, and I can pop them into a bag. And what I would do is just leave these like that to dry, and then every day I'll come along and just move them around a bit so that they all get aired and dried as much as possible. And remember to always leave your label with the seeds, because you will not remember when they're all spread out, you will not remember what's what. So it's critical that you keep your label with your seeds. And that's how you save your own seeds from heritage or open pollinated tomatoes. It's very easy, and then think how many tomato plants I'm going to have next year from these seeds. So the seeds are now starting to dry out. They won't be dry yet, but they're certainly drying out. And then I'll separate them all out and put them in a bag, preferably a paper bag rather than a plastic bag, but not until you're 100% sure that they're completely dry. Otherwise they'll go mouldy. So that's how you save your own homegrown seeds from any heritage or open pollinated tomatoes, and it's really easy to do. As I've said, saving your own seed is quite straightforward and easy, so I hope you'll give it a go. That way you can keep some of the seeds each year, because the seeds will keep longer and germinate better when you save them and sow them from fresh. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, give us a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing and give any comments or questions below, and I'll see you next time. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, happy growing. Bye bye.